Hello, Algebra 1. I promised to walk you through two of the word problems that I assigned you to do in class today because it is your homework assignment. So here I've picked the first of those two, number 1. Notice that the document I gave you suggested some steps you would take to solve any one of these word problems. So let me just quickly talk them through. First of all, there are two different quantities you're supposed to figure out or calculate. You can call one of them x and the other y, like it says here. I actually end up using different letters than x and y in this video lesson. Second step, you should create a system of equations, and both of them should contain x and y. Or in this problem down here, since it's about children and adults, I used C and A as my letters. But you should set up two equations with those letters. Third, you should solve the system using one of the methods we've talked about, graphing substitution and linear combination. You should answer the question, and you should double check your work. So here we go with this first one. Hit the pause button, read this sentence to yourself, make sure you understand what the question is asking. Okay, I'm going to assume that you did that. The key point to recognize, going back to this very first thing here, you're asked to solve for two quantities. Well, what you're asked to solve for is each type of ticket and how many of each type of ticket were sold. And the two types of tickets are children's tickets and adults' tickets. So you're asked to find what A and C are, or C and A. But the information that you're given, and the place that I would actually suggest that you focus your attention, is on the totals that you're given. You're told there are a total of 103 tickets. You're also told there's a total of $843. And to set up the equations, to write the system of equations, step 2, I would suggest that you start here and recognize that one of your equations is going to be equal to 103 and the other is going to be equal to 843. And now put that together with this idea of x and y, like I said, call them A and C in this case, and realize your equation is going to be something with A plus something with C is equal to 843. Well, this one actually isn't too hard to figure out, this second one. It's 6, or in other words, the price of a child's ticket, plus 11, the price of an adult's ticket. Those two things together make the $843. It's actually this upper one that's the harder one to figure out. Well, remember, it's supposed to include the same letters, C and A. And what is this 103? Well, let's look again. Oh, it's the total number of tickets. And what kinds of tickets are they? Children and adults. It's all the children plus all of the adults make up 103. So one way of saying it is one set of all the children plus one set of all the adults equals 103. Now I've got a system of equations. Both equations have the letters, matching letters in them. So now I can use one of my methods, graphing substitution or linear combination, to solve them. Well, I would suggest in this one, or at least I chose to use linear combination. And I'm going to try to make the C's, the children, cancel out. So I'm going to multiply that top row by -6. When I do that, I get -6C. Negative 6a equals, well, 6 times 103, negative 6 times 103 is negative 618. Now I just add up the columns, like you know. Left column cancels out. The column for the adults becomes 5a. The column for these numbers over here becomes 225. And now it's just arithmetic. A becomes 45. That means there were 45 adults. I would suggest from here you should be able to figure out how many children there are if there were 45 adults. I'm going to move on to the second example that I've picked. I've decided to work through number 7. This time you're going to do more helping with me. So start off by hitting the pause button and read this paragraph to yourself and make sure you understand the question. Okay, I'm going to assume that you did that. And once again, where I focused my attention was on the totals. 10 households and $1,880. And again, then I looked at, okay, so what am I being asked? How many households did you mow and how many did you shovel for? So I used M and S. You could use X and Y. But here is how I made up those equations. All the houses where you mowed the grass and all the houses where you shoveled the snow together added up to 10. and the prices of those two tasks, mowing and shoveling, added up to $18.80. All right, once again, I can pick whichever technique I want to use to solve. This time, I decided, just for change of pace, to use substitution. And also, besides, if I'm going to be multiplying by negative 200, these get to be pretty big numbers. I just thought substitution might be a better way to go this time. So I rewrote that first equation to become m equals 10 minus s. And the next thing I need to do, well, here I'm going to hit the pause button, or I'm going to have you hit the pause button. I want you to work it out from here. I'm going to show you the answer, and I'm actually going to build it for you, but I want you to try to do this. So hit the pause button. When you come back, I'll walk you through this answer. Okay, again, I'm going to assume that you did that, and you should have plugged this 10 minus s, you should have plugged it in place of m in the other equation. Well, now it becomes 200 times 10 minus s plus 180s equals 1880. That's what we have here. Oops, I, for some reason, don't have the equals 1880 written down. But if you have that set up, you should be able to figure out. Work that through. Distribute the 200 times the stuff in the parentheses. You should get this information here. That's an s, by the way, not a 5. And once you have this equation, combine the like terms, the negative 200s and the positive 180s. You should get negative 20s. Move the 2000 to the other side. You should get negative 120. And you should be able to see that s, in other words, the houses where you shoveled snow, is equal to 6. And from that, you should be able to figure out yourself that the number of houses where you mowed the grass was 4. Okay, that's it. That's the video lessons. That's the explanation of these two sample problems. Go ahead and do the rest for your homework, and I'll look forward to seeing you in class. Come with any questions that you have.